Welcome everybody to the Season 8 recap video. Let's get started with the seeding. Alright. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants as opposed to last time, so bear with me. So the number 1 seed is going to be Ninja. Whoops, I gotta fix this. Ninja, 8-2, has tiebreakers over me and Nelson. Kicked my butt pretty soundly. And number 2 is going to be myself, because I got the tiebreaker over Nelson, who will be the 3rd seed. 4th seed, Fiddlesticks, has the tiebreaker over 5th seed DPS. It's a pretty clean season as far as tiebreakers and everything. There's no ugly 3-way stuff. So yeah. And Mac will be the last in the playoffs. As you see here, 3 hosts 6, so Mac will be going at Nelson's house. And here, the marquee matchup, Ben and DPS. Ben's got home field. I really expect this to be a super close bracket all around. Alright. We got the heroes. Let me see what I can do about. Can I have chat up without OBS? No. Oh, that sucks. Alright, 7. First out of the playoffs. The lowest seed, I guess you could kind of term it, for the Hero Cup is going to be Richie. 4-6 season. Shocked the world when he beat me. That kind of sucked. Alright, number 8. There's a tie here, CBK and Dizzy. Let's see who got the tiebreaker here. Dizzy beat CBK. Yep, 14-10. Dizzy did not complete the tank. That means CBK is number 9. Number 10 will be 40 FPS, 1 win on the season. I think everybody here, poor Uncle Elmer here, he's got the bye. Only gets to play 1 game down there. But I think this will also be super close. I think everybody's got a chance to win it. Elmer, he's got just 1 game he has to win the Hero Cup. Richie, very, very strong team. Really did well this season, I'd say, despite not making playoffs. Check this real quick. Yep. Dizzy and CBK both have very strong teams. I think anybody can win it down there. So, yeah. Dizzy will host Richie. 40 FPS will host CBK. The winners of these games will play each other, and then the winner of that plays Uncle Elmer. It's gonna be fun. Looking forward to it. All right. Take a look at the game logs quick. Games of note. Here we got the first game for the Rams franchise in Tampa Bay. I messed up the Tampa Bay uniforms. I'll probably write an article about that for the future, just for fun, you know. Yeah, Elmer's debut, he played me so good, had me scared. Fortunately, he couldn't really reach those heights again, but we'll see. He's got the potential to do so. Yeah, Mac, I guess I didn't watch it live, but I heard that you gave up on a punt return, so had to add that in. It's on the stats here as well. Correct me if that is not the case. I'll give you a chance to defend yourself there. Yeah, a lot of good games here. I just kind of got lazy and wrote great game on all these. This game right here was super close. Me and CBK, he had me dead to rights, but a couple picks, perfect punt, a couple play picks for a safety. That was like, ooh, very good game. Here's the game that Nelson and Mac both tried to throw away. I was dying watching that one. Yeah, I'm pretty salty about this game. He got so much coverage on me. Oh my gosh. The score, it was not really that close. He had me very bad. Yeah, I got some blowouts in here. It'll happen. Yeah, here's this game. That opening kick return really set the tone. It looked like it rattled Ninja. Couldn't get much going. I think he probably threw a few picks. At least one. He didn't throw many picks. So, yep. Poor Dizzy choked this one. It was a very good game. DPS threw a pick. Just trying to rifle it in there. Dizzy did the same thing on the next drive. Gave DPS time to go downfield. Yep. Pretty bad deal there. It'll happen, though. It will happen. Alright. Guess I'll fill this out real quick. Did I mess it up? Did I mess something up? I think I messed this up, so I'll just gloss over that. No, I didn't. Never mind. I'm crazy, sorry. Nelson and Mac. I have to refer back to this here. I don't have it memorized. Okay, 40 CK. Alright. There it is. What y'all think? I wish I could have chat up at the same time I'm going through all this, but maybe I'll figure it out for next time. Alright, so guess I'll go over the stats now. I kind of went over this in my head last night, but as far as these honors go, I mean, easiest choice of all time is to give Jim Kelly first team All-Pro. He's got the volume, most passes, most completions, highest completion percentage, touchdowns, pass yards, lowest INTs. I mean, he just, dominant. Number 2 will be Dave Craig. Put up a little bit more rushing stats, but not as much passing volume. Super efficient, just not quite to Jim Kelly's level. Took a lot of sacks, but that'll happen. Okay, I'm gonna dish out for this I'll give out first team All-Pro, second team, and then 2 Pro Bowlers. The next Pro Bowler is gonna be, well, I guess both the Pro Bowlers. I was thinking Jim McMahon and John Elway. Kramer's close, but he just didn't do enough. I mean, he's last in volume stats by a pretty good margin across the board. That's just how Mac plays. It's not going to get you any accolades for gaudy numbers, but it's effective. Elway here got insane rushing stats for a quarterback. He's got the volume. Not too efficient, but he's got volume. Jim McMahon, steady as usual. Pretty good numbers here. Yep, that'll round out those guys. Oh, I'm seeing here, Ninja had 60 straight completions. Son of a bitch. Alright, running back. Pretty close year. Like, there's, a lot of standout running backs. Timmy Smith, humongous surprise. Look at all this, man. Most rushes, most yards, really good efficiency on top of that. Tied for the longest run, 6 touchdowns. That's pretty good. But I don't think he's going to get first team All-Pro. I think that honor has to go to Herschel Walker. He's got numbers. He's got insane efficiency. Second in the league behind Bo Jackson down here on a lot more carries. Pretty long rush, and he leads the league in rushing touchdowns. So first team All-Pro, Herschel Walker. Second team, I think I'm going to go with Barry Sanders. A lot of rushes there. Same efficiency as Timmy Smith, despite the humongous rating difference, but 3 more touchdowns. I think he will get the nod just barely over Smith, who will get Pro Bowl honors, and Marcus Allen will be the second Pro Bowler. Not quite 1,000 yards, but pretty close. Super far along. Just the eye test, really good. Pretty good amount of touchdowns. So, yep. Alright. Fix this. Every time I move the sheet around, this gets messed up. Kind of bugs me. Kicking. Pretty interesting season here. I had a hard time kind of thinking of these last night. There's a lot of categories to look at. What I'm going to mainly look at is a combo of volume and efficiency. This field goal distance number is pretty important to me, because the higher it is, the longer your kicks are, or your made kicks are. Miss, you want smaller miss yards. It shows how far out you're missing from. I don't really care about long. XPs are really important, more important than you might think, at least in my eyes. So, I totally forgot who I had first team. I think Roger Ruzek. Most attempts, most makes, longest distance by a mile here. Look at that. Almost 100 more than second place. Extra points is the sticking point. He didn't make quite as many as Biasucci, who I'm primarily comparing him to. But I think just how far the field goals were puts him on the edge for first team. Second team will definitely be Biasucci. Almost as good here. Super far distances. And perfect on extra points. That's pretty big. Leading the league in total points. Fuad Rivet will get the Pro Bowl spot. He was the only kicker that was perfect. Now, the reason I bumped him down is just because he didn't make from super far out very often. He's kind of middle category for that. His longest was 40, which isn't, a huge deal. It's close between these top 3, really. You could probably flip-flop it, just depending on your preferences. So, yeah. And the last one will be... Well, it's a tough call here. I think I'm going to deviate from what I thought of last night and go with Chuck Nelson. 9 of 11, pretty good. And he made from pretty far out. And really good on extra points. And that's an error. He led the league in points. So I think Chuck Nelson will be a Pro Bowler as well. Moving on to punters. First team, Reggie Roby. I'm looking at these 3 categories the most, with volume as a tiebreaker. But best in 20 percentage, so most of his punts were within the 20, which is the touchback area, of course. And then he's the lowest as far as out of 20 percentage. And touchback is kind of high, but he's got such a leg that it's kind of hard. That's just going to come with the territory of these elite punters. So Reggie Roby will get the nod there. Second team, thinking Sean Landetta. Pretty similar stats across the board, just slightly worse in all categories on 2 more punts. Third team, or Pro Bowl, I guess. It's kind of close. I think Ron Stark. Well, I mean, he's got this 1 block, and that's going to lose you a game. So, kind of tough. I think he still probably gets it, just being a slight cut above in these categories. But that punt block is pretty detrimental to his chances in most seasons. And then I think it's pretty close between Lee Johnson and Max Rueniger, but I think I'll probably go Rueniger. Just slightly better efficiency. It's splitting hairs almost at this point. Their stats are almost identical. But yeah, I think Max will be the choice. And the last category, kick returners. So there's volume here. Pretty steep drop off. Total yards, that's important. Longest return, italics means it was a touchdown. Only had 2 punt or kick return touchdowns. It's kind of weird. You'd think you'd expect more. I would anyways. And the real big thing is yards per return, touchdowns. I think for leading the league in yards per return and having a touchdown, Tim Brown will be first teamer. Only knock is he just didn't have the volume, which, you know, DPS had a really good defense, so he's not going to be returning many kicks. I guess I pronounced Roan incorrectly. I mean, it looks like Ron. You can't fault me there. Like how some people, like we were talking about Nelson, how people say Scene instead of Sean. But anyways, second team is close. Gerald McNeil has the efficiency, has a Gentry beaten efficiency, but not as a big play threat, not as big of a big play threat. Didn't have the volume, had a better O-line, so Gentry gets the nod. McNeil up next. Next, things get a little bit muddy. We've got like BJ next up in yards per return. He's got a pretty far along as well. I'm not really looking at Darrell Green here. He just got a lot of looks, but dead last in yards per. So there's also CBK's Derek Crawford. That's pretty close, but I think I'm gonna have to go BJ. Just, you know, big play threat, high yards per return. Didn't get many returns, which, you know, shows that Richie's improved his defense from last year for sure. So, all right, there is our All-Pro team. I'll write a list. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll write this out, pick a few MVP candidates. I think we all know who the MVP is going to be, but I'll give you guys a ballot. I'll just post it on the thread. You guys fill it out, DM me. Just DM me your choices, if you would. I also have Coach of the Year, which we can take a look at real quick, unless I'm forgetting something. I don't think I am, but what I'd like to look at for Coach of the Year is this wins over expected, which, if you want to look at this Pythagorean wins formula right here, I'll leave that up if you guys want to piece together what this means. But basically, it just looks at your points for, points against, and the formula will tell you what it thinks, how many games you should have won. So DPS leads in that category. It says he should have won almost 9.5 games. Obviously, you can't win a half game, so about 9 games. But he only won 7. So this wins over expected is super duper low. I checked, and this is the worst by a good margin. Worst underperforming season. He still went 7-3, of course. You know, he made the playoffs, so that's all that matters. But statistically, a very underwhelming performance, I guess, in wins. But the higher you are, it's right here for Richie leading the league. It's saying he should have only won a little over 3 games, but he won 4. So he outperformed expectations in the win category. So I like to look at that. I obviously like to look at overall record, overall dominance, Ninja leading in dominance except for DPS. So there's a lot of ways you can look at it. I guess I'll fill out my own ballot as well. I think that's everything. And oh yeah, SRS, of course. Basically just, you know, how you performed according to, or relative to league average. But that's all I can think of to talk about. Unless I'm missing something. Anyone think? Can anyone think of anything? Otherwise, I guess I'll just stay live and write out the all-pro team. Might as well stay live for it. Read some feedback here. Yeah. Oh yeah, Nelson brought up like blocked field goals. That would have been something to look at. Like, you know, who has the most blocked kicks? We can like zoom over here real quick. I need to put the thing back on screen. Whoops. Like if you look at field goal made against and extra points made against, you know, maybe something for the future. We could determine like defensive MVPs based on that. Like if we had defensive stats, I'd say probably like Carl Banks would get it, just because, you know, you can't kick out extra points on him. Fools out there in the hallway, but you can't kick extra points on him, all that stuff. So that's something to look forward to in the future. But I guess I will call it here. The matchups are set. If you have any questions, let me know, of course. And yeah, Michael Carter's my favorite defensive player. He's up there at least. He got to be. But yeah, leave it to you. See ya.